What's up Airsofters and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how I upgraded my Tokyo Marui MK23 to improve its range and accuracy. Now before I do any upgrades, I'm going to first run the gun through the chrono to see what it's shooting at out the box. Right, this is pre-upgrade chrono. I'm using 0.2 gram BBs. I'm going to fire 6 shots. So here we go. 266, 258, 257, 254, 251, 249. That comes out at an average of 256.48 FPS. Okay, this is still the pre-upgrade chrono test. This time I'm using 0.32 gram BBs. Here we go, 6 shots. 224, miss. 209, 216, 202, 201, 200. That comes out at an average of 208.88 FPS. There are 3 upgrades I'm planning on doing today. I'm going to be installing this maple leaf yellow bucking. As well as that, I have a Hadron TDC and H key to install. Finally, I'll be installing this 150mm maple leaf Crazy Jet tight bore inner barrel. First off, you want to remove your suppressor if you haven't already. Next, we'll need to remove the top slide. Here you can see the piece that will be replaced by the Hadron TDC. To remove the slide, you'll need to remove this retaining bolt. If you look closely at the top slide, you'll notice there's a small notch cut into it. Pull the slide back until the retaining bolt lines up with this little notch. If you flip the gun over and press on the retaining bolt, it should now just pop out. Use your fingers to pull it all the way out. It may be a little bit stiff the first time you try to do this. Put this down and keep it somewhere safe. Now hold the gun with your 2 thumbs on the back of the slide whilst holding the main body of the gun pushed forwards. You should now be able to lift the top side off completely. We're now going to remove the barrel assembly. To do this, push the entire assembly forwards towards the front of the gun. You should then be able to wiggle it free of the slide to remove it. Stick the slide to one side. Now we're going to replace the stock cover with the Hadron TDC. This is just held in place by some pins, so you should be able to get your nails under it and just prise it off. Now you're going to need a Phillips screwdriver to remove these 3 screws. Remove the screws and keep them safe. Once removed, you can now pull off the outer barrel. This was very stiff on mine, so it might take a bit of force to release it. If you're installing one of the longer Crazy Jet inner barrels like I am, then we'll need to modify this using a drill bit later on by widening the diameter of the barrel to allow for the longer length of the inner barrel to pass through it. For the time being, pop it to one side. You should now be able to simply separate the 2 sections of the hop-up unit. The hop-up wheel may fall out, but don't worry, we won't be needing this once we've installed the new TDC. Don't worry if the spring falls out. Remove the stock inner barrel and bucking. You may also find the hop-up arm falls out. If you bought the old style maple leaf barrel, you may need to do some modifications here to remove these 2 burrs from either side of the unit. Now you can do this with a Dremel. Now fortunately I have the new style barrel which fits with no modifications. Pop your new barrel out of the packaging and remove the rubber bung from the end. As you can see, it's longer than the stock barrel, which is why we need to modify the outer barrel shortly. Next, grab your bucking of choice. Push this onto the end of your inner barrel, ensuring the 2 slots cut into the bucking run along the sides of the cutout in the inner barrel. Once fitted, the bucking shouldn't be able to move. Next, you want to grab the little C-clip that came with the bucking and pop it into the groove that runs around the bucking. Next, pop the new barrel and bucking back into the hop-up unit. You'll notice there's a little cutout window on the hop-up unit where the bucking will fit perfectly into to make sure you have it the correct way up. Now grab your H key. You'll notice that one side has a concave cutout to it. This is what will make contact with the bucking with the flat section facing up. Put the hop-up arm back on top of the H key because this will help keep it in place. Now this next bit can be extremely tricky unless you have arms like an octopus. Carefully reassemble the hop-up unit while ensuring the H key doesn't move, as it does have a tendency to slide out, as I've found out many times. All that's left now to do is reinsert the two smaller screws into the hop-up unit casing. Now be very careful when doing this, as you're screwing into plastic housing, not metal, so it's very easy to strip the thread, so don't over tighten the screws. Now it's time to modify the outer barrel. As you can see by looking down the barrel, there's a section that juts in just below the barrel end, which stops the longer inner barrel from passing through it. This is where we're going to need to widen it by using our trusty drill.
A few moments later.
For this I used an 8mm drill bit and just kept going at it until it was wide enough to fit the inner barrel through. Now another little tip I've picked up to help keep the inner barrel secure from moving around is to wrap the end of it in PTFE tape, like so. This will just help eliminate any barrel wobble that may occur. Now pop back on the outer barrel. Finally put back in the final screw, again being careful not to over tighten it. Let's install the final piece of the puzzle now, the Hadron TDC. As you can see, I've gone for the Tri design purely because it's all they had in stock at the time. Inside the bag you should have a number of small grub screws which will need to screw directly into the TDC body. I found these a little bit tricky to get in at first, but then I used this fancy little device I bought from Project Airsoft, which is basically a TDC tool which you can also store into the body of your Mark 23 for easy access. Once you've screwed in all three, it's time to install the unit. You'll notice that one end of the TDC has these little hooked feet. When installing the TDC, these need to be pointing towards the back of the gun and will hook under these little tabs. Now thanks to some movie magic, I made this look really easy, however it did take me several attempts to get the TDC to sit correctly. Now let's reassemble the rest of the gun. Firstly, grab your slide. Reinsert the barrel assembly like so. It's spring loaded, so once it's been inserted, just release the unit and it should lock itself back into place. Now we're going to reattach the slide to the gun body. Again, this proved to be rather tricky, so be patient, and when you get in the sweet spot, it should just slide back into place. Pull the slide back so the little retaining bolt notch lines up with the hole for the bolt, and then push the bolt in and you're all done. Now one thing I did notice, which I hadn't seen other people mentioned in with their videos, is that when the new TDC is installed there seems to be a bit more friction on the slide, meaning when you cock it back it doesn't always spring forward again, you have to give it a little push. Now this isn't a massive issue as you can still cock it by pulling the hammer back. Now let's head back to the chrono. Okay, this is the post-upgrade chrono test. I'm going to start off with 0.2 gram BBs, 6 shots. So here we go. 305, 294, 293, 295, 291. Actually ran out of BB, so we'll call that 5. That comes out an average of 296.12, which is an increase of 39.64 FPS over the pre-upgraded gun. We're going to do the same test, this time with the 0.32 gram BBs. 6 shots, here we go. 237, 221, 227, 222, 218, 219. That comes out an average of 224.47 FPS, which is an increase of 15.58 FPS over the pre-upgraded gun. I'm going to do one final test since the upgrade. I'm going to be using a 0.4 gram BB, which is probably the weight I'll be using in the field. 6 shots, here we go. 218, 213, 209, 214, 202, 205. That comes out an average of 210.57 FPS. Now, unfortunately, I didn't test the 0.4 gram BBs pre-upgrade, so I have nothing to compare it against. Now, I wasn't overly impressed with the results of the post-upgrade, so what I've done now is I've gone for a different green gas. This is Newpol 2.0, so let's do the same tests, this time starting with the 0.2 gram BBs. Here we go. 324, 309, 311, 309, 311, 307. As you can see, we're now getting an average of 312.22 FPS on a 0.2 gram BB. This is an increase of 55.73 FPS over the pre-upgraded gun, but more importantly, it's a 16.10 FPS increase over the old 144A Abbey gas. Now 6 shots with the 0.32 gram BBs. 268, 256, 256, 260, 259, 257. It's a similar story when using 0.32 gram BBs. The average is 259.77 FPS, that being an increase of 50.88 FPS over the pre-upgrade, but also a whopping 35.30 FPS increase over the Abbey gas. And then finally we're going to try the 0.4 gram BBs 6 shots. Here we go. 242, 230, 232, 228, 228, 227. Finally, the 0.4s again. There's an increase of 21.18 FPS when using the new Prol 2.0 gas over the Abbey 144A gas. So what does that all mean? Looking at the table of my results, you can clearly see that the upgrades have had an impact on the FPS of the gun. I put this down to the tighter bore barrel, meaning there is less gas seepage, similar to what I saw with my Krytac when I upgraded that. I'll pop a link to this up into the top corner of this video. This is a nice side effect, as originally the upgrades were mainly to increase range and accuracy, as well as making hop-up adjustments easier with the TDC. However, I think one of the biggest shocks from the test is how much of an increase in FPS I was getting from swapping from the Abbey 144A green gas to the new Prol 2.0 gas, especially with the 0.32 gram BBs, where there was a 30 FPS increase. Needless to say, I'll be using this gas going forward. Well, I hope you found this video useful. Please remember, I'm in no means an airsoft tech, so try not to crucify me too much in the comments below, but please do leave a thumbs up if you found it useful. Also, if you're new around here, please do consider subscribing. I release regular gameplay and airsoft related videos, so seeing you guys subbing to the channel means I'm doing something right and gives me more drive to keep coming back with better videos for you. Also, hit that little bell icon to get notified when I drop new content, and I'll see you in the next one.